I work with endurance athletes. They could either need coaching for endurance sports, whether it be Ironman, cycling, running, or it could be they need a bike fit. So they buy a fancy bike and they need somebody to size them to that bike properly. When people are riding on their bike for 1 to 7 hours, they can do a lot of harm to themselves. During the bike fitting process, we address comfort, efficiency, power, speed to make them the most comfortable on their bikes. I got to do bike fitting with some of premier athletes who were in the Tour de France, George Hincapie's team, who's very famous, Francisco Mancebo, who is in winners in the Tour de Spain. So being able to work with those type of riders, I would say would be up there in some of my top accomplishments. 15 years ago, I started riding a bike. Never rode a bike, was hanging out at a bike shop. And when I would hang out there, I would see the bike fitter do his thing. And I was like, that's pretty cool. As I start to become friends with the people at the bike shop, one day they said, hey, you like hanging out here, you like the bike environment, why don't you come work for us? And I said, you mean like part-time? And they're like, no, we need a full-time fitter. And at that point I went home, I researched fitting, and I decided I wanted to make a career change from corporate America and become a bike fitter. I did a fit for a lady the other day. She just bought a bike for the first time. She's just getting on a bike and she wants to ride 10 miles. And I just get the same joy out of that as I do working alongside somebody who won the Tour. They both have passions. They're just passions in different levels, right? One's trying to win the greatest bike race in the world, and the other one's just trying to ride 10 miles. I'm very fortunate. It didn't come without tons of sacrifice. The reason I didn't ride a bike, or the reason I didn't grow up riding a bike, is my brother was killed on a bike. I was 12, he was 10. We got bikes for Christmas. It was 3 of us, Chris, Brian, and myself. And they had left the house before me, and I was getting ready to leave, and we were gonna go ride bikes. So they had left the house. Within 10 minutes, my brother, Chris, had come back saying my brother that Brian was hit by a car. So then we, as a family, went running down the road, and my brother was in the street. He was hit by a car, and that changed things forever. When I first started riding, I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my mom I was riding bikes. And this was 34 years old, 33, 34. So from the age of like 13 to like 34, I never rode a bike. I didn't want to tell my mom I was riding a bike. And now I make my living riding a fucking bike. About 3 weeks ago, my mom passed away. She lost her battle with cancer. She fought it for about 18 months. So I went there and spent some time with her, spoke with her. I left, came back to my office, did a little bit of work, and 2 hours later, I got a call from my dad, and he was crying. He said, Mom is passing. And so I left right away. I took my dad over, and he's in a wheelchair because he's very sick. And I plopped him right next to my mom, and I said, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna talk to Mom and you're gonna hold her hand. These are the last moments of her life. And he did. We sat there together. And so I hugged my dad, I hugged my mom, and she passed. She took one more breath, and that was it. And my dad turned around and he looked at me and he said, 47 years and it's over. He looked at me, he goes, is that it? I said, yes, Dad, mom has passed. So I think that it's so profound to be here for that period of time. We have such minimal amounts of time. That's 47 years they were together. And he said that it was it, like that. Like, I want to make an impact on this world. One of the legacies I wanted to leave behind for really my mom and my brother is I wanted to leave something that would really leave a mark on society and people in general and touch people. I remember early on when I first started endurance sports, I was like, I'm gonna do Ironman and I'm gonna do that to honor my brother. For me, it wasn't big enough. It was too small. Like, I'm gonna do this Ironman event and then I get to do one day and then that day's over. And I wanted something to be lasting. So I kind of shelved that for many years. When my mom passed away, I didn't know how I was gonna honor her. For the last 18 months, I've worn these socks on a lot of my rides and it says, F you cancer. Everyone who comes through this door can impact cancer, can impact kids, And when it's not just a bike fit that we're doing this for now. Now we're doing the coaching session, the bike fit sessions. We give a portion of those proceeds towards the sock charity. Everyone gets a pair of these socks, so that way when you go out there and you ride, you don't forget. You don't forget the moment you spent with me. You don't forget cancer. You don't forget the suffering. You don't forget kids. You didn't just get a bike fit. You actually are going to make a difference. And then we're going to sell these socks. We're going to make custom socks that are going to be coming in. And these socks you can buy, and a portion of those proceeds, all of it, 100% will go towards a charity. And that charity is going to be for kids and people with cancer, but on the grassroots level. We're going to hand a check to someone who needs money for a hotel, or who can't afford their deductible, or who can't afford their medications. We're going to make a difference on the lower levels. We're going to go after like local charities, local people who need help. And so that's what the sock campaign is going to be about. It's about my mom and my brother, honoring them. AeroPro is not going anywhere. So we want to make sure that when we leave, when I look at my body of work, when I leave this earth, I want to impact as many people as possible for the positive. And I think the sock campaign is one of the ways we can do that.